Hi there, hi there, hi there, hi there, hello there, hello there, hello there, hi there, hi, I am luckily ASMR. This will be a very fast speaking type of ASMR video, and as you can see, I am the person that will be talking way too fast in this type of video, but I still hope that this type of speaking and this type of speed will be able to help you out with your relaxation needs and your tingle needs and everything else that I can provide as an ASMR artist. In any case, I am the one who speeds, and I hope that you will enjoy this type of really fast video. Of course, this is kind of how I regularly talk anyway. Most people tell me that I talk way too fast 90% of the time anyway, and in some of my videos people have told me that they can't really understand what I've been saying most of the time. So I still hope that this will not be as bad as those and that you guys will still be able to understand me for the most part. But hey, who knows, maybe this will be an unintelligible type of whispering instead of that, just because sometimes some of these words just end up not being easy to understand or easy to just misinterpret. But of course I will try my best and not make this that sort of video, but you know, if it does end up being like that, hopefully you can still enjoy it. The thing with this idea most of all is that the fact that I can go through a lot of words, a lot of different words, many different things that I've learned, words that I've learned, and like basically a vocabulary type of test where I can just go through a bunch of words and hopefully one of them, at least one of them, will somehow be able to trigger your tingles. That's at least my wish, and I hope that it can be fulfilled. But yeah, there is no particular topic for this video, and that is kind of unfortunate in a sense, because for this type of really fast type of speaking video, I really have to have a bunch of topics to talk about, because unless it's a really short video, it kind of has to be filled with a lot of talking, and if it's just nonsense, it can be really boring. But if it's something actually interesting, it can be really interesting. But the entire thought of like having a lot of topics ready is kind of annoying to me, so I kind of don't like to have it all planned out. I like to wing it and to do these type of improv type of videos, because they just feel a lot more authentic, a lot more normal, a lot more like something natural, and a lot more like something people would expect from an ASMR artist, and something that might relax them, something that they can have a connection with and have a mutual feeling with. So hopefully it's the type of form that all of you can enjoy. I know a lot of people that do subscribe to me do enjoy some of my rambles and some of my talking way too fast and talking way too much about certain topics. Last time I talked about, actually not last time, but it was in my Serbian video, the video that I did before this, so not a lot of you could have actually known what I talked about in there. But there was this coincidence a few days ago when I was doing like a team meeting with the people that I'm doing a game with, a project with for my university, for my final senior year project, the ultimate project, the diploma project. I don't even know how exactly it's called, like graduation project, I don't know how it's called, but in any case, I'm doing this project, and we somehow managed to get into like all of the different things that I talked about in that Serbian video. And it's kind of weird because a lot of you couldn't hear a lot of the stuff that I was talking about, especially since a lot of it was kind of specific to my country, to Serbia, so a lot of you couldn't even probably had any connection with it, because it's completely different here than it is in like the US, or well, more, I don't even know how to call it, better off countries that are more evolved in a sense. But yeah, I talked about a bunch of stuff, but I think that it can usually be a universal thing is that schools are kind of old school, that they haven't been modernized, that they're kind of really ancient in the style that they're done, and that we basically learn stuff in schools in the way that workers used to learn it during the industrial period. And that is a really stupid thing to have. Like bells were basically just things that told workers when they should start working and when they should stop and such, and they had really short breaks because they were basically slaves in a sense. They had to work for a really small wage. Well, we're not that, we're kids, especially during like the elementary school, and even in high school and middle school, you still have a lot of stuff that you're still starting off to learn. So it's like, it's really bad for us to have this type of pressure put on us, despite the fact that we're not workers, that we're not supposed to be under this pressure. And while they like to say that this is something that like makes us become sturdier and has a more of a real life type of vibe to it, it's not really how real life really is. At least not in that sense. It might be a lot of anxiety, it might be a lot of pressure, it might be a lot of different things, but it's definitely not something along those lines at such an early age. And especially when you're that young, you don't really need that type of pressure. Maybe you'll build up a tolerance, that might be a thing, but maybe you'll even get even bigger anxiety later on because of all the pressure that was put on you really early on, and you have expectations that you can't really come up to just because it had been built up to that level due to people that tend to tell you scary things that might not even ever happen to you. So the entire system is really flawed, and I watched quite a few different videos, quite a few different essays, I've read quite a few things as well, just to like get a better idea of how the entire system could work better, especially since I went to this class in last year that was essentially how you teach people, art class, in university specifically. Actually, it was more like a general one, since we talked about kids of different ages, like people of different ages, and from like literally kindergarten all the way to high schoolers and university and such, and all the differences in how they work, how they study, how they like to get their information and everything else. We had to make our own plans, our own ideas, our own topics and everything else that could possibly be a project or something that we do if we became an art teacher. Unfortunately for me specifically, I wasn't actually thinking about being an art teacher. I didn't know that it was specifically for art teachers. I thought it was just a general methodology of education and raising people. I forgot what the translation for the other word was, but in any case, I thought it was more of a general thing, something that could stand for everything, every other type of thing, especially since game design isn't specifically an art. It's a lot of different things, and since it's what I'm studying in university, I wanted to teach that. I wanted to be a university professor of that. But since it was kind of unspecific, actually it was very specific to art, it didn't give me a lot of the information that I actually wanted. It gave me some methods and ways in which I should interact with people, but not, it was a lot of it was very in a very creative way. So because art is creative, and art is something that can be done in a much more creative way than some other types of specific sciences. And despite the fact that game design isn't a specific science, because you just can't know what works, what doesn't. It's not a general thing, it's not an objective thing. It's very subjective, and you just need to think about every different type of person that might play a game. So it was not as beneficial as I hoped that it would be. But I still think that it could have been, it was useful in a lot of ways, but I just ended up not continuing with it, and I digress. I forgot what exactly the point of this was. Yeah, it was actually one of the things that I learned a lot through that class, as to how the education system is flawed in many ways, and how it doesn't function in a way that it should, and how there's no feedback loop between the professors and the students, and there's also no basic effect between there's no basic effect of the students towards higher parts of the education system, like the principal and everyone else. Like you both have no idea what the principal does, how it affects you, or anything else 90% of the time, or if you do, it's very minuscule, or you have no effect on it. And on the other hand, you have to do a bunch of work to actually have any effect on it, and even in those cases it can just be ignored. I know, because in a lot of, I know this specifically because I've had to do it many times and I've tried to do it many times in university and make a sort of change and make an improvement, since the class that I'm going to is only 2 years old. Actually, it's not 2 years old, but we're the second generation, so the professors that we're getting in the classes that we're getting are only have only had one generation of experience to actually teach us the stuff that we're doing, and a lot of these aren't very specialized. A lot of these aren't professors that are specifically educated in the things that we need to know. Instead, they're just professors that are in general have either read books or done stuff, or like the closest thing that they could get to an actual professor. So it can be improved in many different ways, and some professors and people are just willing to do this and willing to help you out in a lot of different ways, but the entirety of the system just doesn't let them help you in the ways that they want to. Specifically in this case, I'm talking about an English class that we had, which we for some reason don't have in all 4 years. We only have it for 2 years, and it's one of the most useful things that you can have as a game designer, at least a game designer in Serbia, because you can't be a game designer without knowing the English language, because a lot of the terminology, the words, everything that you learn is in English. And even if people try to make it into something that is more of a how do I call it, a specific thing that you can do in Serbian, a lot of these words just aren't translatable. That it's not something that you can say in Serbian. It's not something that anybody will want to say in Serbian. It's just a bunch of stuff that needs to be said in English for everybody to understand it. And on the other hand, both there's a preference to English, and many of the largest studios, the studios that you want to work for most likely, are the ones that speak English, or at least have the most people speaking English in it. So you get a lot more chances. A lot of the people here don't even know English that well, so they should definitely learn it. And the professor is really good and really wants to help and really wants to study the area, the field that we're in, and actually make it and put it into a way, and make it in a way where it's a lot more specific to us, and gives us types of content that we're interested in, talks about content that we're interested in, and topics that are cool and very useful for us to learn. And not a lot of professors are actually willing to do that. A lot of them just put us in together with others, and especially for the ones that are like related to films and TV series and such, because we're in the audiovisual section of the entire university. It ends up just being us doing films and doing scripts and doing a bunch of other stuff that just doesn't have anything to do with us, like writing for books and TV shows and films and everything else. And the theater is kind of similar to video games, but at the same time it's completely different, because you have certain overlaps, but at the same time you have a bunch of stuff that is absolutely nowhere near the same as it would be in one of these other mediums. So at the same time it's useful, and at other times it's really useless. So you just end up learning 90% of stuff that is completely useless to you, and having to have it in your head for a period of time that you really don't want it to have, and it just want it to be, and you just end up forgetting it really fast after that. So it ends up just being completely useless. So in a sense, it's just annoying, and it's something that can definitely be improved, and I'm sure that a lot of professors could also be helpful. But in the entire system, like trying to make this and giving like the proposal to the dean that we wanted English for all 4 years for all of the different students was something that he just basically brushed off. Like he said, okay, I'll think about it, but you can talk to the professor, and then yeah, you could do that once you get the accreditation again, and that's like in 4 years or something. And I have no idea how it will even have any effect on that, because we'll be over by the end of this year. So everything is just annoying and irritating, and I hope that the school systems in other places are a lot better, a lot more functioning, a lot more have a better feedback loop than this one has. And I know that this is the same thing for a lot of other universities in Serbia as well, but I hope that the rest of the world, or at least parts of it, have and I know that for a fact that a lot of them do have better systems and have people that are just working to actually educate you people. Though in this case, a lot of it comes down to the wage, the salary that people get, because teachers are just people that don't get a big enough salary. I know that in the US it's also a very big problem, because people just don't get paid enough to tolerate children, kids, teenagers, everything else. Like when you're in university, in my opinion, it's a lot easier to do, because the people that are in your university most likely actually want to learn stuff that they're coming to the class to. So it's a lot more specialized, and while it is at sometimes niche and some things might not be universally useful, I think a lot more people will be interested and actually listen to the professor, and won't be making a ruckus and doing stuff that people just don't want them to do, and making a scene or stuff that is just annoying, because of the fact that it's a university and that it's usually heralded as something that is a lot more honorable and like high class than some other stuff, like a university, high school, like a high school, middle school, and elementary and kindergarten specifically. So in that sense, these institutions can definitely be a lot better in certain areas, but of course change starts from somewhere. So hopefully once I do become a teacher, which I guarantee you do, guys, I will try my best to do, I'll try and make a difference, even if it's for a small wage in a sense. Though I don't plan to be a professor immediately. It's not like I want to finish this course and immediately be a professor. That would make no sense, because I'll have no experience. I'll just be like, oh, I want to be a professor of just theory and not actually having anything to prove that I'm actually good at it. So in a sense, I want to prove myself in the area, in the field, for some time, and then I want to return to actually give something useful to the people that are going to these classes and getting something from this, because I think I can just help them in a way that they couldn't have been helped before, and that I specifically and my classmates and everyone else before us couldn't have been helped, and even after us, until somebody more useful comes, can be like educated and helped out in a way that they should be. And the most annoying thing that I always keep hearing from people is the fact that universities aren't meant to actually to lend you a hand into getting into like how regular life functions. And that's a really stupid thing to say, because what is the point then? If it educates you but doesn't help you in real life, then what is exactly the point of it, besides getting a diploma which says, oh, you're on like a higher level than something that finished high school? In every other way, if it doesn't help you and if it gives you a lot of useless information, you'd probably just be better off spending 4 years finding courses and doing specific things that are useful to you, and not getting this dumbass diploma that might not be useful to you at all. So in many ways, this is a really stupid argument in my opinion, and I know that a lot of you would probably agree with me, and that this entire system should just be a lot better than it is right now. And I'm sorry if this might not be a really relaxing topic. Maybe it is. Maybe I made you rage, or made you like think about stuff that's just annoying, and that's just not your style, not something that you'd like to talk about a lot. Maybe you're not even in school, or you don't care about it, or you're just not somebody that is interested in these types of topics, or just never even wanted to talk about school, or just ignored it, or dropped out and just did something better with their life. But in any case, I would hope that this somewhat helped you, and if you do agree that it did help you relax and did help you focus on this and not on other stuff that's maybe happening in your life, and maybe you could relax, maybe you could tingle, maybe I could help you in any other way, and maybe this entire binaural really fast, really hectic type of experience helped you. And if it did, definitely let me know. Like the video. I hope that you're asleep already, so if you can't and you're asleep, don't like this video. I mean, do, but don't do it right now. Continue sleeping. And any leave a comment if you did enjoy it, and tell me if you like these types of fast types of videos. I don't usually do these aggressive types, despite the fact that I'm kind of aggressive and that I like doing these types of aggressive things. But it's still kind of complicated because I'm also very prone to being tired, especially with doing stuff with my hands and and even now my throat kind of hurts after these 15 minutes. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and everything else that I just said, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye 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 bye.